Hey everyone, and welcome back to the channel. I'm 74 years old now, and 2 years ago, my daughter was pushing me to move into assisted living after what she called the incident. Today I want to share how 7 simple home modifications not only allowed me to stay in my beloved home of 40 years, but actually made me feel safer and more confident than I had in decades. The day everything changed. March 15th, 2023. I'll never forget that date because it almost changed the course of my entire future. I was in my kitchen making my morning coffee, the same routine I'd followed for decades. I reached up to grab my favorite mug from the top shelf, the one my late wife Margaret had painted with sunflowers. As I stretched, my balance wavered and I tumbled backward, crashing into my kitchen table. The bruises healed in 2 weeks. The fear lasted much longer. My daughter Sarah arrived within an hour of my panicked phone call. While I sat there with an ice pack on my hip, she paced around my kitchen like a detective at a crime scene. "Dad, this can't happen again," she said, her voice tight with worry. "What if you'd hit your head? What if you couldn't reach the phone? What if no one found you for hours?" Her questions echoed the same fears that had been growing in my mind for months. The house that had been my sanctuary was starting to feel like a minefield of potential accidents. That evening, Sarah sat me down at my dining room table, the same table where Margaret and I had made countless family decisions over the years. "I've been researching assisted living facilities," she began, spreading brochures across the table like tarot cards predicting my future. "There are some really nice places nearby. You'd have 24-hour care, meal service, activities." I listened quietly, but inside I was dying. This house held 40 years of memories. Margaret's garden still bloomed every spring. My workshop in the basement contained projects I wasn't ready to abandon. The neighbors knew my name. The mailman asked about my health. The thought of leaving felt like losing the last connection to the life Margaret and I had built together. "Can I have some time to think about it?" I asked. Sarah nodded, but I could see the worry in her eyes. "Of course, Dad. But we can't pretend nothing happened. Something needs to change." She was right. Something did need to change. I just wasn't ready to accept that it had to be my address. Enter Dorothy, the occupational therapist who changed my life. A week later, my neighbor Mrs. Rodriguez knocked on my door. She was holding a casserole dish and wearing the expression of someone with something important to say. "Frank," she said after I'd thanked her for the lasagna, "I heard about your fall. I hope you don't mind me asking, but have you thought about making some modifications to your house?" I looked at her curiously. "What kind of modifications?" "My sister Dorothy is an occupational therapist. She specializes in helping seniors modify their homes so they can age in place safely. She's helped dozens of people avoid moving to facilities by making their homes safer." The phrase "age in place" hit me like a revelation. I'd never heard it before, but it perfectly described what I desperately wanted to do. Would she be willing to look at my house? Mrs. Rodriguez smiled. "I already asked her. She can come by Thursday if you're interested." Thursday couldn't come fast enough. Dorothy arrived at 2 p.m. sharp, an energetic woman in her 50s with kind eyes and a measuring tape clipped to her belt. "Frank," she said as she surveyed my living room, "I want you to know that most seniors can continue living independently with the right modifications. My job is to identify the risks and eliminate them." Over the next 2 hours, Dorothy walked through every room of my house with the precision of a safety inspector. She took notes, measurements, and photographs. But more importantly, she listened. "Tell me about your daily routine," she said. "What activities are becoming more difficult? Where do you feel unsteady? What worries you most?" For the first time since my fall, someone was asking how to make my current life better rather than planning my exit strategy.
Dorothy's assessment, the 7 critical areas.
When Dorothy finished her evaluation, she sat me down in my living room and opened her notebook. "Frank, I've identified 7 areas where simple modifications can dramatically improve your safety. The total cost will be less than 2 months at most assisted living facilities, and these changes will serve you for years to come." She showed me a hand-drawn map of my house with red circles marking problem areas and green arrows showing solutions. The good news is that none of these require major construction. Most can be installed in a single day, and some you can implement this weekend. Area 1, bathroom safety, the most critical zone. Bathrooms cause more senior injuries than any other room, Dorothy explained. Wet surfaces, hard edges, and the need to move between sitting and standing positions create the perfect storm for accidents. She pointed to my tub-shower combination. "This is your highest risk area. Every time you step over that tub edge, you're performing what we call a complex motor task, while standing on one foot in a potentially wet environment." Area 2. Lighting throughout the house, eliminating the shadows. Dorothy pulled out a small device that looked like a thermometer. "This measures light levels," she said, walking around my living room. "Adults over 65 need 3 times more light than younger people to see clearly, but most homes are designed for 30-year-old eyes." She showed me the readings. My hallway, which seemed adequately lit to me, measured well below the recommended levels for senior safety. Area 3, staircase security, your daily mountain climb. We moved to my staircase leading to the 2nd floor. Dorothy gripped the handrail and frowned. "This rail is loose, and it only exists on one side. Every time you use these stairs, you're trusting your balance and this wobbly support system." She demonstrated how the handrail moved when she applied pressure. Stairs become exponentially more dangerous when seniors can't trust their support systems. Area 4, kitchen accessibility, the heart of independence. Back in the kitchen where my fall had occurred, Dorothy opened cabinets and examined my storage system.
"Independence in the kitchen is crucial for aging in place," she said. "When you can't safely access your dishes, prepare meals, or clean up afterward, that's when families start discussing institutional care."
She pointed to my top shelves. "Everything you use regularly should be accessible without reaching above shoulder height or bending below waist level." Area 5, flooring and pathways, creating safe highways. Dorothy walked slowly through my house, examining every surface transition and area rug. "Your beautiful Persian rugs are trip hazards," she said gently, "and these transitions between hardwood and tile create uneven surfaces that can catch feet and canes." She knelt down and lifted the corner of my hallway runner. "See how this curls up? That's a fall waiting to happen." Area 6, emergency communication, your lifeline to help. "What would have happened if you'd been unconscious after your fall?" Dorothy asked. "How would help have found you?" The question sent a chill through me. Sarah had asked the same thing, but Dorothy was asking it as a problem to solve, rather than evidence for why I needed to move. "We need to create multiple ways for you to summon help, regardless of where you are in the house or what condition you're in. Area 7, exterior safety. Your connection to the world. Finally, we walked around the outside of my house. Dorothy examined my front steps, driveway, and walkways. Outdoor falls are particularly dangerous because you might not be found quickly, she said. We need to ensure every path you take regularly is well lit, even, and has proper support. She pointed to my front steps. These need handrails on both sides, better lighting, and non-slip surfaces. The 90-day transformation plan. After Dorothy's assessment, she created what she called a home safety implementation plan. Rather than overwhelming me with 7 major projects, she prioritized them based on risk level and ease of installation. We'll tackle this in 3 phases over 90 days, she explained. Phase 1 addresses your highest risks immediately. Phase 2 improves daily comfort and confidence. Phase 3 adds the finishing touches that will serve you for decades. Phase 1. Emergency interventions, days 1 to 30. Week 1, bathroom safety revolution. Dorothy's first priority was my bathroom. This can't wait, she said. Every shower is a risk until we address this. She recommended a complete grab bar system, 2 grab bars in the shower area, 1 beside the toilet, 1 near the bathtub entry. All professionally installed into wall studs, but the game changer was her suggestion to replace my bathtub with a walk-in shower. I know it seems drastic, Dorothy said when she saw my expression. But elimination of the high step-over is the single most effective modification for bathroom safety. She showed me photos of walk-in showers that looked nothing like institutional bathrooms. They were beautiful, with built-in seating and handheld shower heads. Think of it as upgrading rather than accommodating disability. The installation took 3 days. The contractor Dorothy recommended was experienced with senior modifications and understood the importance of details like proper drainage and slip-resistant flooring. On day 4, I took my first shower in the new setup. The confidence I felt stepping directly into the shower instead of navigating the tub edge was immediate and profound. Week 2, emergency communication system. Dorothy installed what she called a layered communication system. Primary layer, a medical alert necklace with GPS tracking that worked both inside and outside the house. Secondary layer, cordless phones in every room, including the basement and bathrooms, with large buttons and amplified speakers. Tertiary layer, a smartphone app that automatically checked in with me daily and alerted Sarah if I didn't respond within 2 hours. Redundancy saves lives, Dorothy explained. If one system fails, you have backups. Week 3, critical lighting upgrades. Dorothy's electrician installed motion sensor LED lights in my hallway, bathroom, and stairs. These weren't harsh institutional lights. They provided gentle illumination that gradually increased when motion was detected. The psychological impact was immediate. No more navigating dark hallways or fumbling for light switches in unfamiliar positions. Week 4, staircase security. The carpenter reinforced my existing handrail and installed a second rail on the opposite side. But Dorothy's innovation was adding LED strip lighting under each step edge. Depth perception changes as we age, she explained. These lights define each step edge clearly, reducing misjudgments that cause falls. Phase 2. Daily living improvements, days 31 to 60. Kitchen accessibility transformation. Dorothy's kitchen modifications focused on what she called the golden zone, the area between waist and shoulder height where items should be easily accessible. She installed pull-down shelves in upper cabinets, lazy Susans in corner cabinets, drawer organizers that maximized storage in lower cabinets, under-cabinet lighting that eliminated shadows. The most ingenious addition was a rolling cart that could move between the stove, sink, and counter. This eliminates the need to carry hot pots and heavy items across the kitchen, Dorothy explained. Flooring safety project, rather than removing my beautiful rugs. Dorothy found a solution that preserved the aesthetics while eliminating the risks. She installed thin, nearly invisible rug grips that secured every edge and eliminated curling. For the transition areas between different flooring types, she installed beveled transition strips that created smooth pathways. Phase 3, long-term independence features, days 61 to 90. Smart home integration. Dorothy introduced me to technology I never knew existed. Voice-activated systems that could control lights, temperature, and even call for help. Smart doorbell cameras that let me see visitors without going to the door. Technology should make life easier, not more complicated, she said, teaching me simple voice commands that felt natural within days. Exterior safety completion. The final phase addressed my connection to the outside world. Dorothy's contractor installed handrails on both sides of my front steps, solar-powered motion lights along all walkways, non-slip surfaces on steps and the front porch, a ramp option for deliveries or future mobility needs. The unexpected benefits. After 90 days of modifications, something remarkable happened. Not only did I feel safer, I felt more capable and confident than I had in years. Increased independence. Tasks that had become difficult or anxiety-provoking were now simple and stress-free. Cooking became enjoyable again when I could access everything I needed safely. Showering went from a careful balancing act to a relaxing routine. Improved sleep. The security of knowing I could navigate my house safely in the dark, summon help if needed, and perform daily activities without risk, eliminated the low-level anxiety that had been disrupting my sleep for months. Social confidence. With my home modified for safety, I began inviting friends over again. The embarrassment about my limitations disappeared when the limitations themselves were eliminated. Family peace of mind. Sarah's weekly check-in calls went from worried interrogations to pleasant conversations. She could see that I was not only safer, but thriving in my modified environment. Dorothy's 7 principles of aging in place. Throughout our 90-day journey, Dorothy taught me 7 principles that transformed how I thought about aging and independence. Principle 1. Proactive prevention beats reactive solutions. Most seniors wait until after a fall or accident to make modifications, Dorothy said. By then, confidence is shaken and options are limited. Proactive modifications prevent problems rather than just responding to them. Principle 2, independence through intelligent design. True independence doesn't mean doing everything yourself exactly as you always have. It means structuring your environment so you can accomplish your goals safely and confidently. Principle 3, aesthetics matter for acceptance.
Modifications that look institutional or scream disability create psychological resistance. Beautiful, well-designed safety features enhance both function and self-image.
Principle 4. Layered systems provide security. Single point of failure systems are dangerous. Every critical safety need should have multiple solutions: primary, backup,
and emergency options.
Principle 5. Technology should simplify, not complicate. The best assistive technology becomes invisible in daily use. If you're constantly thinking about the device, it's the wrong solution. Principle 6. Gradual implementation builds confidence. Overwhelming seniors with dramatic changes creates resistance and anxiety. Gradual implementation allows adaptation and builds confidence with each successful modification. Principle 7. Family involvement creates success. Modifications work best when family members understand and support the changes. Education and involvement prevent well-meaning relatives from undermining independence efforts. The real cost analysis. When Dorothy first mentioned costs, I braced myself for financial shock. Assisted living facilities in my area averaged $4,500 per month. Dorothy's complete modification package cost $12,800, less than 3 months of institutional care. But the real comparison was more dramatic. 5-year assisted living cost, $270,000, home modification cost, $12,800, annual savings, $51,440. These modifications will serve you for 20 years or more, Dorothy explained. They're not an expense, they're an investment in long-term independence. Common concerns and real solutions. During our work together, Dorothy addressed every concern I raised about aging in place.
What if I need medical care?
Home modifications don't prevent you from getting medical care. They reduce the likelihood that you'll need emergency care due to preventable accidents. You can still see doctors, have home health services, or go to the hospital when necessary. What if my needs change? We've designed these modifications to accommodate progressive changes. The grab bars can support mobility aids. The ramp can handle wheelchairs. The communication systems work regardless of your physical capabilities. What about social isolation? Seniors in their own homes with proper modifications often maintain more social connections than those in institutions. You can invite friends over, participate in community activities, and maintain existing relationships. What if there's a real emergency? Your layered communication systems provide better emergency response than most institutional settings. Emergency responders know your address, medical history, and have multiple ways to access your home. The ripple effects. The changes to my home created positive effects I never anticipated. Community connections strengthened. News of my modifications spread through my neighborhood. Other seniors began asking questions about Dorothy's services. I became an informal advisor, sharing experiences and recommendations. Family relationships improved, with safety concerns addressed. Sarah's visits became enjoyable rather than stressful. She stopped looking for problems and started seeing solutions. Our conversations shifted from worry to planning adventures and activities. Personal growth continued. Feeling secure in my home environment gave me confidence to pursue interests I'd abandoned. I rejoined my woodworking group, started a small garden project, and even took up digital photography to document the neighborhood changes. Dorothy's advanced strategies. As our relationship evolved from client-therapist to friends, Dorothy shared advanced strategies she'd developed over her career, the future self planning method. We don't just modify for current needs, she explained. We anticipate how your needs might change over 10 to 15 years and build in accommodation for those possibilities. This meant wider doorways that could accommodate mobility aids, reinforced walls that could support future grab bars, and electrical systems that could handle additional assistive devices. The confidence-building approach.
Every modification should make the senior feel more capable, not more limited, Dorothy said. We focus on what you can do better, rather than what you can't do anymore.
Instead of framing grab bars as fall prevention, she presented them as stability enhancement, instead of emergency systems being about calling for help. They were about maintaining independence with support available. The gradual adaptation timeline. Dorothy insisted on implementing changes gradually to allow psychological adjustment. Seniors who try to change everything at once often reject the modifications or feel overwhelmed. Gradual change builds acceptance and confidence. Maintenance and long-term success. 18 months after our initial modifications, Dorothy returned for what she called a systems check.
She tested every grab bar, examined all lighting systems, and evaluated how well I'd adapted to the changes.
Maintenance is crucial, she said, tightening a loose handrail. These systems only work if they're properly maintained and updated as needed. She created a maintenance schedule monthly. Test emergency communication systems. Quarterly, check and tighten grab bars and handrails. Semi-annually, replace batteries in motion sensors and emergency devices. Annually, professional evaluation and updates. The neighborhood transformation. My success story inspired a neighborhood movement. Dorothy ended up working with 6 other seniors on my street, creating what she called a aging-in-place community. We looked out for each other, shared resources and recommendations, and created informal support networks that enhanced everyone's independence. Mrs. Peterson next door installed a beautiful walk-in shower similar to mine. Mr. and Mrs. Williams down the street upgraded their lighting and communication systems. The Johnsons created a wonderful, accessible garden that became a neighborhood gathering place. Instead of a street where seniors gradually moved away as they aged, we became a community where aging in place was not just possible, but celebrated. Lessons for adult children.
Through conversations with Sarah and other adult children in similar situations, Dorothy developed guidance for families navigating these decisions.
Start conversations early. Don't wait for a crisis to discuss aging-in-place options. Early conversations allow for planning rather than panic-driven decisions. Focus on solutions, not problems. Instead of listing everything that's dangerous or difficult, focus on how modifications can address concerns while preserving independence. Involve seniors in planning. Modifications imposed without input create resistance. Seniors who participate in planning embrace and maintain the changes. Understand the emotional component. For most seniors, home represents identity, independence, and connection to their life story. Respect these emotional ties when discussing options.
The technology revolution.
Dorothy introduced me to assistive technologies that seemed like science fiction, but worked seamlessly in daily life. Smart home systems, voice-activated controls for lights, temperature, and security systems that responded to simple commands.
Health monitoring. Devices that tracked activity levels, sleep patterns, and vital signs, alerting family members to concerning changes.
Medication management. Automated dispensers that prevented missed doses and medication errors. emergency detection, advanced systems that could detect falls, unusual activity patterns, or failure to follow normal routines. The goal isn't to monitor every moment, Dorothy explained, but to provide safety nets that activate only when needed. Financial strategies and resources. Dorothy helped me navigate funding options I didn't know existed. Insurance coverage. Some modifications were covered by Medicare or supplemental insurance when prescribed by physicians. Veterans, benefits as a veteran. I qualified for certain home modification grants through the VA tax deductions. Many modifications qualified as medical expenses for tax purposes. Community programs. Local aging services offered grants and low-interest loans for safety modifications. Family investment. Sarah and her siblings contributed to the modifications as an investment in my long-term independence, saving them money compared to assisted living costs. The health benefits. Within 6 months of completing the modifications, my annual physical revealed unexpected health improvements. Increased physical activity, feeling safe and confident. I moved around my house more, walked in my neighborhood regularly, and maintained better fitness levels. Improved mental health, reduced anxiety about falling or having accidents, improved my sleep, mood, and overall mental well-being. Better medication compliance, organized, accessible medication systems improved my adherence to prescribed treatments. Enhanced nutrition, a functional, accessible kitchen motivated me to prepare healthier meals rather than relying on processed convenience foods. Dorothy's final assessment. 2 years after our initial meeting, Dorothy conducted her final comprehensive evaluation. "Frank," she said, reviewing her notes in the same living room where we'd first discussed my options, "you've exceeded every goal we set. You're not just aging in place, you're thriving in place."
The metrics supported her assessment.
0 falls or safety incidents since the modifications. Maintained independence in all activities of daily living. Continued participation in community and family activities. Improved health markers across multiple categories. Enhanced quality of life and life satisfaction. Most importantly, Dorothy said, you've demonstrated that aging doesn't have to mean declining. With the right environment and support systems, it can mean evolving and adapting while maintaining control over your life choices. The Legacy Plan. Inspired by Dorothy's work, I've begun documenting my experience to help other seniors and their families. I've started what I call the Aging in Place Journal, recording lessons learned, resources discovered, and strategies that work. Sarah and I now give presentations at senior centers about home modification options. We share before and after photos, cost analyses, and practical guidance for families facing similar decisions. The response has been overwhelming. Dozens of seniors have implemented modifications based on our presentations. Several have avoided unwanted moves to institutional care. Planning for the future. At 74, I'm already thinking about how my needs might change over the next decade. Dorothy taught me to plan proactively rather than reactively. Phase 4, preparations, ages 75 to 80. Reinforced flooring that can support mobility aids. Additional bathroom modifications for potential mobility changes. Enhanced communication systems for hearing or vision changes. Simplified home maintenance systems, Phase 5, considerations, ages 80 plus. Potential live-in care accommodation, advanced medical monitoring systems, simplified home layouts for easier navigation, enhanced family and community support integration. The community model. Dorothy's work in our neighborhood has created what gerontologists call a naturally occurring retirement community, or NORC. Seniors who've aged in place with proper modifications now support each other in maintaining independence. We've established informal check-in systems between neighbors, shared resources for home maintenance and modifications, group purchasing for health monitoring and emergency services, social activities that accommodate various physical capabilities, information sharing about services, resources, and best practices. The economic impact. The financial benefits extend beyond individual savings. Dorothy showed me studies indicating that aging-in-place communities reduce healthcare costs through prevention of injury and illness, maintain neighborhood stability and property values, keep seniors economically active in their communities longer, reduce the burden on institutional care facilities, create jobs for home modification and support services, addressing the critics. Not everyone supported my decision to age in place. Some family members and friends questioned whether I was being realistic about future needs. Dorothy taught me to address these concerns directly. Aging in place doesn't mean refusing help or ignoring health changes. It means creating an environment where you can adapt to changes while maintaining as much independence and control as possible. The key is distinguishing between appropriate caution and limiting fear. The emotional journey. Perhaps the most significant aspect of this journey has been emotional rather than physical. The process of modifying my home to support aging in place has been a process of accepting and planning for changes, while affirming my continued value and independence. Instead of feeling like I was preparing for decline, I felt like I was investing in my future self. Each modification represented hope and planning, rather than accommodation to limitations. Dorothy's parting wisdom. As Dorothy concluded her work with me, she shared insights developed over her career. Successful aging in place requires three elements: a supportive physical environment, reliable social connections, and access to appropriate services as needs change. The modifications we've made address the physical environment. Your neighborhood relationships and family connections provide the social component. The systems we've established ensure you can access services when needed. But most importantly, you've maintained agency over your life choices. That sense of control and self-determination is more valuable than any safety device we've installed. The Sunday dinner celebration. 2 years after that difficult conversation about assisted living, Sarah and I sat at the same dining room table. But this time, the brochures were replaced by photo albums documenting the transformation of my home and life. "Dad," Sarah said, "I have to admit I was skeptical about these modifications. I thought you were avoiding the inevitable. But watching you thrive these past 2 years has completely changed my perspective on aging." She paused, looking around the familiar room that now accommodated my changing needs while preserving the memories and comfort that made it home. "You've shown me that aging doesn't have to mean losing control or independence. It can mean adapting and planning while staying connected to what matters most." The ripple effect. My story has influenced decisions far beyond my own life. Sarah has begun making proactive modifications to her own home, planning for her future needs decades in advance. My grandchildren have learned that aging can be approached with creativity and optimism rather than fear and resignation. Friends and neighbors have begun their own aging-in-place journeys, creating a community where growing older is viewed as an opportunity for thoughtful adaptation rather than inevitable decline. Your 7-step action plan. If this story resonates with you, here's Dorothy's recommended approach for beginning your own aging-in-place assessment. Step 1. Honest self-assessment. Walk through your home and identify areas where you feel unsteady, activities that have become difficult, or spaces that create anxiety about safety. Step 2. Professional evaluation. Contact an occupational therapist who specializes in home modifications for a comprehensive safety assessment. Step 3. Family conversation. Include family members in planning discussions early before crisis situations force rapid decisions. Step 4. Prioritized implementation. Address the highest risk areas first, then gradually implement improvements that enhance daily comfort and long-term independence. Step 5. Financial planning. Research funding options including insurance coverage, grants, tax deductions, and family investment strategies. Step 6. Community building. Connect with neighbors and local resources to create support networks that enhance independence. Step 7. Future planning. Design modifications that can accommodate changing needs over 10 to 15 years, avoiding the need for major renovations as you age. The final truth. At 74, I wake up every morning in the same bedroom where Margaret and I planned our future together. I make coffee in the kitchen where we prepared thousands of family meals. I sit on the porch where we watched our grandchildren learn to ride bicycles. The house holds the same memories, but it now supports the person I'm becoming rather than limiting the person I used to be. Dorothy taught me that the choice between aging in place and institutional care isn't really about safety or convenience. It's about agency and identity. Do you want to adapt your environment to support your changing needs, or do you want to adapt yourself to fit into someone else's environment? For me, the answer was clear. This house isn't just where I live, it's who I am. The modifications didn't just make it safer, they made it a launching pad for the next chapter of my life. Your home can become the same foundation for your aging journey. The wisdom is available. The resources exist. The only question is whether you're ready to take the first step toward aging in place, on your own terms. Thanks for watching, everyone. If this story inspired you, please hit that like button and subscribe for more practical aging wisdom. In the comments below, tell me, what's one area of your home that makes you feel less confident than you'd like? That might be your first modification waiting to happen. And remember, in honor of Dorothy Martinez, OTR/L, who taught me that aging is not about limitation, it's about intelligent adaptation.
I'll see you in the next video.
Until then, keep building your future at home.